No girlfriend. No kids. No public drama. Just Pedro. Pedro Pascal finally explains why he never talks about dating. Pedro Pascal didn't owe us this much honesty, but wow, it hit. From silence on love to being called a daddy on the internet, this is the most human I've ever seen him. Agree? He's known as the internet's daddy. The protector. The icon of quiet masculinity and thoughtful chaos. But in a rare, vulnerable moment, Pedro Pascal finally spoke about the one thing he's kept out of every headline: love. I always feel perplexed when I'm identified as a highly private person, because that's the opposite of me. At 50 years old, Pedro Pascal is at the height of his fame, and yet, no one knows who he's loved. Or who's loved him. In a new Vanity Fair interview, Pedro reflected on his so-called privacy, calling it a misconception. He's not secretive, he insists. He's just aware. Personal relationships are such a complex thing to navigate, even without having this enormous lens on them. It's the kind of confession that reveals more than it hides. Pedro isn't guarding secrets. He's protecting the fragile, intimate chaos that lives behind fame. Because being the internet's boyfriend or daddy is one thing. Being someone's actual partner is a different universe. And Pedro knows the weight of both. He was never meant to become a sex symbol. At the Critics' Choice Awards, Chelsea Handler famously joked that 2023 was the year everyone became horny for Pedro Pascal. But Pedro? He remembers that moment with pain. I was in a sling. I was overweight. And when the camera cut to me, I didn't think anything could be further from the truth. Behind the suits, the swagger, the fan cams, was a man recovering from a dislocated shoulder. A man who felt old. Broken. Fraudulent. It was the oldest I'd ever felt in life. It was the weakest I'd ever felt. And yet, during that same injury, he was cast in Materialists, playing the Catch of Manhattan. It terrified him. It was such a scary, fraudulent thing to feel like I could play somebody who was the Catch of Manhattan. When the interviewer reassured him, saying he looked hot in the film, Pedro's response was almost a whisper. You think I'm hot in it? Thank God. It wasn't arrogance. It was relief. Pedro also spoke about children, or the absence of them in his life. He doesn't seem eager to become a father. But there's a memory that lingers. I've had dreams of taking my kids to the movies the way my parents took me. So I guess I want a shortcut to an interesting human being who is my child who will go see something that I want to see. He laughs when he says it. But the dream is real. Still, not everyone is thrilled by his internet persona. Bella Ramsey, Pedro's The Last of Us co-star, said, I felt worried for him. I want to protect him from that whole joke of becoming the internet's daddy. You're so much more. Those 4 words, you're so much more, carry weight. Because Pedro has become a mirror for millions. A safe fantasy. A curated chaos. But what if we've missed the man behind it all? The one who feels too old to be called hot. The one who doesn't trust love under cameras. The one who wishes for a shortcut to fatherhood through shared popcorn and movie nights. Pedro Pascal didn't reveal a secret. He reminded us that being adored doesn't mean being known. And that's why fans, especially the real ones, will keep listening. Even when he stays quiet.